Welcome to the beautiful region of Normandy for the recap of the Karting Grand Prix of France. The 2018 FIA Karting European Championship found its conclusion on the international track of SA, not far from the city of Le Mans, with more than 130 drivers on the list in OK and junior categories. The fourth and last round of the 2018 season saw a lot of action on track, with at the end 2 titles rewarded in each category. But before getting into racing, let's have a look at the main differences between the OK and the junior.
Hi, I'm Ricky Flynn, team owner of Ricky Flynn Motorsport. Behind me you will see a junior OK chassis. Everything of the chassis is identical to the senior, apart from the tyres. The junior runs a hard compound tyre, the senior runs a medium compound tyre. And the biggest difference is the engine. The engine with the junior has a 14,000 RPM limiter, the senior has a 16,000 RPM limiter and also has a power valve. The junior engine produces around 29 horsepower, the senior around 39 horsepower. In lap time, depending on the track, is between 1–1.5 seconds faster for the senior, and in kilometres an hour is probably around 15 kilometres an hour, again track dependent, sprocket dependent.
With 1200 meters, 9 corners and lots of elevation changes, the track of Onnet-les-Bois is no short of challenges. Let's go for a tour on board with the OK driver Lorenzo Travisanotto and the commentary of Chris McCarthy.
On board with Lorenzo Travisanotto at the twisty SA circuit in France, well known for its elevation changes. Across the line we head downhill into turn 1, which takes us into one of the biggest overtaking opportunities at turn 2 and one of the most physical parts of the track, pulling over 2 Gs. We now head back uphill into a blind turn 3, a corner with various different racing lines. A good exit here is important as it takes us on the steep run downhill to turn 4. Use the banking to carry as much speed as possible into turn 5. Then we have this long right-hander which takes us to the lowest point of the circuit. A good exit is needed from turn 6 for the uphill run in order to hit top speed and open up an overtaking opportunity at turn 7. We'll be pulling in excess of 2 Gs as we make our way around the penultimate corner. Make sure you use all the track on the exit before heading into the very quick final corner, which takes us back uphill towards the line, and that's a lap completed in 45 seconds.
A special category was in action at SA in the form of the Kart International Trophy. 13 handicapped drivers took to the track to compete at an impressive level. Among them, Fabrice Dubois, the man by whom the Kart Championship became a reality in France. Here's what he had to say.
Hello, I'm Fabrice Dubois, 54 years old, and I've been a handicap driver for 15 years. I have fulfilled my passion.
Alors moi le karting c'est simple, j'en avais jamais fait avant mon accident. J'ai eu un accident.
It's simple. Karting I had never done before my incident. I've had a big incident with my motorbike in 1992 and I wanted to find a new motorsport discipline to satisfy my passion because before I was doing motocross.
Avant je faisais du motocross et donc j'ai créé ce kart.
And so I created this kart, an electric steering wheel, a small stick to accelerate and brake, and a special seat to maintain my upper body. Then, because I haven't got strength in my hands, my mechanics need to tie them up to the kart so I can go racing.
C'est quand même exceptionnel.
It's really exceptional to be able to do this sport, which is very physically demanding. But it enables very handicapped people to be examples for others, especially for youngsters with an injury or a disease. It motivates them when they think, if that guy can do it, then we can also.
Si ce gars-là il arrive à faire ça, voilà, nous on peut y arriver.
take part to a karting European Championship is a team effort. To better understand what's happening behind the scenes, we went to meet a few team managers. What is their role? How do they approach a race weekend? Here's a glimpse of answer.
Hello, I'm Nicolas Berwoods.
My name is Stuart Gibson. I'm
the team manager for VDK Racing.
Team manager of Forza Racing, here competing in the OK Junior and Senior
of the European Championship.
Starting from at home, I'm involved in the making all the travel arrangements, ordering all the stock, hotels, flights, etc.
The team manager implicates that I have to care about all the drivers, the mechanics and their parents, and at the same time I have to remove the information from the mechanic and the driver to the boss of the team.
I like to think someone calm, like myself, not too emotional. I think it's important to keep a calm sort of level head, because some drivers can be quite emotional and you need to bring them down a level or two. And likewise, there are some drivers that show no emotion and sometimes you need to pick them up a little bit.
Organization starts from the Wednesday with all the drivers and all the team. And from the morning of Wednesday, we first give all the material to each driver. Each driver takes the information they need to start the competition. And the first thing that we will do with the driver is to understand and to study about the track.
On Thursdays, we obviously need to run in all the engines. Our engine tuner GFR supplies all our engines. They all need running in. Every driver has their designated carburetors, so it's just about making sure all the material is working for the weekend ahead.
We have to improve it on the real condition with all the OKG drivers on the track, because the track is coming faster and faster during all the weekend. So the main goal is really to use the video, onboard video and outside video that I care about. So we use all of that with the mechanic and myself, and we coach the driver to understand the line and the brake point and how to accelerate and the rest. From Friday we will more focus on the qualification test. I mean more about simulation of qualification.
Saturdays can go one or two ways. It all depends on qualifying. Qualifying is so important. If you get a good qualifying, it's all about good consistent results in the heats.
Sunday we have to focus on the final, and we have a last heat on the Sunday morning. So often we ask our driver to stay focused, because even if you did a good job before, during the beginning of the weekend, you can lose everything on the last heat.
Sundays, yeah, final day. That's when either you go home with a smile or a sad face. It's yeah, everyone's here to win. We're all working for the same objective.
It's always an interesting job, but I have to run a lot.
With 67 drivers but only 34 places available in the final, the junior category proved once again to be eventful. After what had been a timid season so far for him, Nikita Bedrin set the pace in qualifying any heats to start the final from pole position. Leader of the category before SA, Paul Aron qualified P7 on the grid with one race to go from a potential title. Let's see how things turned out with Jake Sanson.
As the French Grand Prix finale got underway in OK Junior, Nikita Bedrin swept into the lead, while Kai Aski slipped down to 5th position after a tricky getaway, allowing Victor Bernier, Gabriele Mini and Paul Laurent to overtake. As the field made its way around the first lap at SA, an incredible 6 drivers would be out of the race, as Josh Dufek, Delano Van Toff, Lorenzo D'Aloisio and Conrad Larsson came together. Larsson would get going once more, with the other 3 out on the spot, joining Tikhon Kharitonov, Tom Uzan and Paolo Gallo on the sidelines. As the wreckage was cleared away, home hero Bernier tagged onto the back of the Russian and immediately began to attack Bedrin. And his knowledge of the circuit made Bedrin an easy target. Out of the final turn, a very nice run from Bernier, and the Frenchman hit the front through turn 1 of the CIK FIA European Championship decider. This gave Gabriele Mini a sniff of a chance to move into second place past him, but he'd reckoned without the Estonian Paul Aron, who made his own move on the Italian, who'd now have to go back to the drawing board and try something else. The next lap around and the Estonian was now back behind Mini and the British driver Alex Dunn, who seized his chance and moved ahead into third. The target was clear, time to catch the leaders. Behind the top six, that end-of-season desperation was creeping in as the Sebastians got into the war zone. Danish racer Gravlund made a bold move on Montoya, son of F1 winner Juan Pablo. Both went off the road, with Montoya missing the hairpin completely and having to let the entire field back through. Dunn had worked incredibly hard to put himself onto the rear of Bedrin, and now the Russian was coming under intense pressure from the Brit. He made his move into turn 3, but dramatically, the door closed at the wrong moment, and both men were out instantly. That blew the championship battle wide open, and gave both Gabriele Mini and Paul Aron a crucial gain of 2 positions that would aid their title campaigns. Mini was now up to second behind championship underdog Gabriele Bortoleto, who needed a minor miracle to grab the championship lead. Isaac Hajar was 4th, and most importantly of all, Paul Aron was 5th. But nobody could console Alex Dunn and Nikita Bedrin, a chance to close out their CIK FIA European campaigns on the podium, now dead and buried. The man on the move was now Paul Aron, who had caught Hajar and was bidding to move up into 4th, which would more than claim the championship. Aron tried the same move as Dunn, but having seen how that had ended, thought better of it and bailed before contact ended his championship hopes. Further up the road, and Bernier was now a severe threat from Mini, and the Italian dived for the lead at the hairpin and grabbed an essential lead. With Mini needing to win and then hope Aron dropped outside of the top 10 to seal the championship, all he could do was charge for victory, with Aron out of his control. Further into the race, and this time Aron lined up Hajar beautifully into turn 3 and swept through into 4th place, the championship guaranteed for the Estonian if things stayed like this. Aron elected to play defensive with time running out, and the gap to Bortoleto a little too large to eat into at this stage. But keeping Hajar and O'Sullivan at bay was a risky place to find himself. Fortunately, O'Sullivan made his life a little easier and made his move for 5th place, displacing the Frenchman Isaac Hajar, who would eventually slip down to 7th place behind the Russian Kirill Smal. Behind the leading group, Rafael Chavez Camara was dealt a cruel blow by Thomas Tembrinka, and in a similar move to Gravlund on Montoya, Chavez Camara was pushed down to 17th, leaving Tembrinka to battle with another F1 racer's son, Enzo Trulli. Aron had finally caught up to Bortoleto, with O'Sullivan hot on his heels, and the final intense battle began in earnest. Yet no matter what Aron tried, Bortoleto was uncrushable, as he weaved masterfully into every place Aron wanted to be in. With Aron needing the points, O'Sullivan took full advantage of his caution and made the switch into 4th position, with Aron not needing to take a big risk. 5th place would be enough. Out in front, Gabriele Mini cantered to a crushing victory at SA and ended his CIK FIA European Championship on a high. But with Bernier second from Bortoleto and O'Sullivan, Paul Aron would come home in 5th place, which would crown him the OK Junior CIK FIA European Champion by a mere 3 points. It was an incredible finale, and the Estonian had been solid all year to become a worthy winner, joining the likes of Lando Norris, Sebastian Buemi and Sebastian Vettel as CIK FIA European Junior Champion.
It was a really good final because I make the start and then they give the red flag. I think the second start was better than the first. Alex Dunn and Nikita Bedrin have a crash, and I catch Victor Bernier, and from then I escape and I won the final.
Gabriele était très rapide.
Gabriele was very fast, really. I couldn't get him. He got past me, then carried on to make the gap. It was very hard to go catch him.
C'était très compliqué d'aller le chercher ensuite.
Yeah, I'm very happy to this result. I'm 3 on the European Championship. It's a really difficult final because I have really good drivers, and I try my best on World Champs in the next race.
We tasted the other 2 steps of the podium, and we wanted to end the European Championship with this result, regardless the final classification. And we gave our best to have no regrets on the result of this race. So we're all very happy for this. Of course, we came here for something more, but this is the maximum we could do.
Honnêtement, on était venu pour gagner. Voilà, mais la deuxième place c'est vraiment la meilleure chose qu'on peut.
Honestly, we came here for the win. That's it, but second place is really the best we could have done because we have been through some difficulties with the chassis, especially yesterday during the heats. Then we changed everything with the chassis, changed everything with the engine when we were able to find a big performance in the morning. Then we didn't dare to change anything coming to the final. It has been a little bit complicated and second was really the best result possible.
We had some tracks where we had more difficulties, and we had some tracks where we were really fast, but we didn't get the results that we deserved for various reasons. Mainly the whole team has been quite good, especially in junior, and then Gabriel obviously has more experience than the other drivers in our team, so for us he's the main driver at the moment. And now we work hard towards the race in Sweden for the World Championship, together with Gabriel obviously as our main contender, and then the other drivers to support him.
Following the juniors, the OK category featured the fastest drivers on track. After winning 5 of his heats, Dexter Patterson started the final on pole position alongside Harry Thompson. Only qualified P16 Hannes Janker, the leader of the championship, had still his fate in his hands. To cover the final, we get back to Jake Sanson.
With an all-British front row for the OK final at SA, Dexter Patterson versus Harry Thompson would launch into action through turn 1. Niklas Nielsen would shake off the early assault from Zane Maloney and Kaz Havercourt as the field charged through the first few corners of the lap. But the championship fight would come to a head at that very corner as 5 drivers were taken out on the spot, including championship leader Hannes Janker and Italian star Lorenzo Travasanuto. They'd be joined on the sidelines by Ayrton von Techa, Mattia Michelotto and Roman Stanek. But for the German leading the championship, it was agony for Janker, and he'd now have to sit and wait to see what would happen to his championship advantage. But with Stanek and Travasanuto out as well, all he'd need was a bad run from Pedro Hiltbrand, and the championship would be his. Patterson would be left leading Thompson from Nielsen, Havercourt and Luigi Coluccio in 5th. Coluccio didn't take long dispensing with Havercourt and moved himself up into 4th place, whilst further back 2 more seasons ended for Andrea Rosso and David Vidales, yet another rival that Janker wouldn't be beaten by after all. The only man remaining who could snatch the crown away now was Spain's Pedro Hiltbrand. The Scotsman Dexter Patterson was on cruise control out front, stretching the gap to Harry Thompson, who was looking set for a top 3 in the championship. Niklas Nielsen now had Coluccio all over him for the final spot on the podium. Callum Bradshaw was now in 6th behind Havercourt, and plenty of time still to go. The first major mistake would come from Havercourt. Drifting wide into turn 1 was all the invitation that Bradshaw needed, and he swept by into 5th position. Now Havercourt needed to get his composure back in check as he was being caught rapidly by Zane Maloney, who was making his own bid for a top 6 finish. The top 7 would remain line astern, with Maloney looking the keenest of them all in his bid to find a way past Havercourt. But his patience would be duly rewarded down into the left hairpin at turn 9. The Barbadian was now up into 6th and chasing after Callum Bradshaw. So Patterson was out in front and continuing his dominant weekend, having yet to lose a single race. Thompson was 2nd, ahead of Nielsen, Coluccio, Bradshaw, Maloney and Havercourt, with Hannes Janker, the German, sitting nervously at the side of the track, waiting to see how the race unfolded. Could he still win the championship? Behind that group, Hugo Sasa was hoping that his determination would leave Rasmus Yutsimis in no doubt as to who would command their battle for 7th. And as the German put pressure on the Finn, he would size up a good chance into turn 9. Setting the Finn up through the midsection of the course, when he pounced on Yutsimis, Sasa would make it look easy. No change further up the road, although Callum Bradshaw was shaking his head as he came across the line. Perhaps a problem was developing, or had he registered that the wind wasn't on? Whatever the reason, all eyes were glued to the leaders in case something were to change. Sure enough though, it would. Kaz Havercourt's strong weekend came to a premature end out of view of the cameras, and his impressive run was over, promoting Bradshaw and Maloney to 5th and 6th. 5 more racers had retired by this point too, with Victor Gustafsson, Alexei Nezov and Leonardo Marcellia all out on the same lap, and Alexei Brijan and Frank Chappard retiring just before Havercourt. And with the Dutchman's car parked in the barriers, it was now a very long walk home. Patterson continued his dominance out in the lead ahead of Harry Thompson. But elsewhere, Hannes Janke could breathe a sigh of relief as his chief rival Pedro Hiltbrand would join him on the retirements list. And this was the result Janke needed to be crowned the champion, despite retiring from the race. Saving the best scrap till last, the third place race was an epic encounter. Coluccio made his bid to pass Nielsen and Bradshaw, and they tightened up, allowing Maloney a chance to read the situation with a bit of space. Then Nielsen, Bradshaw and Maloney all made their move on Coluccio, and the deed was done. But it had only just begun. Bradshaw was relentlessly keeping Maloney at bay, and slight contact in the braking zone was enough to give Coluccio a chance at fifth, for which he didn't need to be asked twice. The final twist in the tail was an almighty move from Coluccio on Bradshaw to open the smallest of gaps at turn 3 for a move into fourth. Sadly for Callum, the gap was also enough for Maloney to slingshot through into fifth. Maloney now had his sights set on Coluccio, but would there be enough time to make a bid for first the Italian and then Nielsen for third? As the final lap approached, nobody had even been able to get near Dexter Patterson, who had made light work of his opposition to end his CIK FIA European Championship OK title campaign with a dominant victory, and having been unbeaten all weekend, and now looking good for a title assault in 2019. Out of the final turn, he jubilantly took the win. But for the title contenders, it was a race of attrition, and back in the pits, Hannes Janke could now celebrate as the new champion, despite having failed to finish. Patterson would take the dominant win at SA, with second place Harry Thompson moving up to the runner-up spot in the championship standings, much to the delight of the Red Bull Junior and Ricky Flynn teams. Nielsen would hold off Coluccio and Maloney, with Bradshaw rounding out the top 6. A fantastic way to end the season, and for Dexter Patterson, a dominant end to a tough year.
Good weekend, new team, and yeah, we seem to have done really well with the package, and yeah, pleased with it.
If I'm honest, not really. First year in senior, so yeah, obviously a great result for the championship and pretty good result to finish off the weekend as well.
I'm quite happy with the weekend, even with the qualifying and the qualifying heats as well. We've had a difficult championship, and I'm very happy to be back on the podium, and this is where I think we belong.
First of all, we are very happy to win the European title with Hannes Janke and the TB Motorsport. So that's very good. And I worked with Dexter last year, and I know he's good, and coming back with us and did a great job. Of course, we would have expected, or we would have hoped to have him on the podium. I think he was quick enough to be on the podium, then unfortunately had a crash, and that's racing. He still won the championship, so it's good.
It was one of those weekends where we can't grumble, because this weekend Dexter was just probably in a league of his own, and we done everything. We had two drivers that were very fast, both Harry and Zane, but we couldn't live with him or go with him, so just one of those weekends where I think second was as good as we could hope for. Paul's done a fantastic job all year. If you look, he's won the winter title, he's won the Winter Cup, so he's had a fantastic season, and obviously now to top it off, he's European champion, and I believe deservedly so. He's been the most consistent driver in juniors since January.
It was really hard for us, it was really hot conditions overall, but we are quite looking forward for the World Championship in Kristianstad. I think we've got a good package, changing now to our new chassis brand, and hopefully we have the right package to be in front again.
That was the final curtain on the 2018 FIA Karting European Championship. We had 4 exciting rounds all over Europe, with at the end 2 new champions, Hannes Janke for the OK category and Paul Aron for the juniors. Thank you very much for watching, and see you very soon for more exciting racing.